Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Recession Resistant Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Brandon Cobb, co-founder of HBG Capital. And today I want to talk about the key takeaways so you can squeeze as much value out of your conferences that you go to. If you're like me, you've been to a ton of conference events. Some of them were incredibly worth it. Some of them are a complete waste of time. And I've probably been doing conferences for probably 12 years now. And over the years, I've learned how to get the most out of these conferences. And I want to share these with you today. But before we dive in, if you get value from these podcast episodes, do me a favor. Could you scroll down on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Buzzsprouts and take a second and just leave us a review? It really helps. It bumps us up in the algorithm. It's the currency that allows us to deliver more fantastic content to you, and we'd be greatly appreciated. And if you like this particular episode and it hits home, share it with your friends and family. Can only help. Thank you. Now, getting into it. So I want to talk about my experience with conferences and share ways that you can take a shortcut to squeeze as much value as humanly possible out of these conference events. And I can tell you, so the first key takeaway that I had came from a mistake that I made. I thought that the reason to go to conferences was to meet as many people as possible and get my business card in as many hands as possible. And there's probably hundreds of people out there right now that have a card and nothing ever happened from it. Over the years, my strategy for conferences has changed. I now go with the intent of wanting to meet specific individuals. And when I find those specific individuals, I take the time to actually build a relationship. And this is probably the best possible thing that you can do at conferences is build relationships. You want to surround yourself with as many like-minded people as possible who are on the same journey as you, or even better, have already been on that journey with you. And to be able to build a relationship with them and connect with them means that you're going to take the first step in order to extracting the value you need to hit your goals and get to where you're wanting to go. So key takeaway number one is go with the intent of meeting specific people and build a relationship. Focus on building relationships and spending time with a select few people rather than a ton of time spread out among a bunch of different people. The second key takeaway that I have is when I'm going to conferences, I'm looking for specialized or new marketing techniques that I'm not currently using. Every single business, if you have a business, if you're a business owner, or you're in a sales job or anything, I really don't care what you're doing. You have to market yourself. We live in a day and age where building your personal brand and getting known is extremely important to your success. So I focus very heavily on writing down information from the speakers at that event and the people that I meet. What new marketing tactics are you doing? How are you getting leads in? What does your customer experience journey roadmap look like? And if you don't know what a customer experience roadmap is, highly recommend that you look into it and build yours out. This is going to be a complete game changer for your business. But I'm very focused on marketing and new tactics when I go to these conferences. Key takeaway number three is any regulations or laws to be aware of. Our economy, our government, our system is constantly changing. There's always new laws that are coming out. A lot of times it's making your job harder. It's very important to be aware of those new laws. I remember when we were doing marketing years and years ago, we were doing some new technology that came out called ringless voicemail. And it was very interesting because there were some laws around calling people unsolicited and trying to get them to buy stuff from you. And so this new service kind of found a loophole where it left a voicemail. So it didn't actually solicit anything. It didn't call them. It just left a voicemail, and it was a ringless voicemail. So they weren't technically solicited, which was really interesting. Very, very gray area. So that was an area where there was a lot of gray area in the laws, and certain states had certain criteria, and certain states didn't. So it became a very important point in time where you needed to understand the laws around that specific marketing method. And, again, I think that they've changed the law a couple times on like calling and doing stuff. So it's just very important to stay up to date on your industry and the laws and regulations. And a lot of times that's conferences serve as a great point of information to get that. Tactic number 4 is getting any kind of market data that's going to affect your business. If you're in the real estate industry, you've probably been paying very specific attention to interest rates. I know I've started paying a lot more attention to interest rates. It's something that affects the entire economy, but has definitely affected people's portfolios over the past year as the Fed has continued to raise rates and compress real estate prices because of those rate increases. So going to conferences and really listening to what market conditions are currently occurring, where things are headed, and getting different opinions and just staying aware of that is very, very important. A lot of young entrepreneurs who haven't had a few go-arounds, a lot of times they can get burned by not paying attention to what's going on around them in the market. Back in 2008, 2009, a lot of people that got burned were the people that just weren't paying attention to the news. They thought everything was great and dandy, and everything that was on the news was just a bunch of hearsay. And it was the people who were still taking out hard money loans, short-term loans, high interest rates during, the 2008 collapse that ended up getting burned. They weren't paying attention. Even last year, I know a lot of the big builders, national builders who've been around for a long time, they were cutting back in Q1 of last year. They all saw the writing on the wall, and sure enough, rates started going up. Luckily they had started scaling back. So if you talk to people, the writing is on the wall, and the people who are informed are the ones that usually make it out first before things really take a turn for the worse. So when you go to these conferences, see if you can't pay attention and learn what market conditions, one, are, and two, what market conditions would have to change to for your business to be affected. Tactic number 4 is I want to talk to people about any other conferences, networking events, or masterminds that have worked out really well for them. Success breeds success. And especially when I meet people who have accomplished what I'm trying to accomplish, who've already been on that path, I love asking them what groups they've been a part of. Who's been a part of the success? Have they had any coaches? Have they had any mentors? What mastermind groups did they join? This has been super instrumental. And the best way to find some of the best mastermind groups or coaches or training or courses is to talk to people at these conferences, because you already are either in the same business or you've got similar interests. There's some kind of connection there, right? There's a conference, which means you both have some kind of shared interest. And a lot of times they're going to be able to refer you and suggest you literally life-changing events that you can be a part of. So pay attention to and ask what mastermind groups, other conferences, and other events people are going to when you meet them at these events. That's it for today. If you've loved this episode and you'd love to learn more about investing, receiving passive income, if you'd love to learn more about achieving your dreams and impacting those around you through unique passive real estate income investments, head on over to our website, hbgcapital.net. We've got a ton of free information on our website, free ebooks, recession resistant real estate. Check that out. And if you feel compelled to sign up for a introductory call, there's no obligation. We look forward to getting to know you. Till next time.